I see a light burning, flashing.
Burning?
Yeah.
Is there a little candle
There's
inside?
a light.
You missed your true calling, didn't you?
Hey, I can sing it. Anyway, hello and welcome to Reblogatog number
5.
5? Is this 5?
We're a whole hand's worth.
A handful. All right. Reblogatog number 5, where we endeavor to bring you what we consider to be the most relevant questions answered on Mark Rosewater's Blogatog. Hence, we call it Reblogatog. And I go through and I filter them out and decide, okay, that's just goofiness. And usually I take out the stuff. Sorry if you're a big person. Maybe I start sharing a few of those, but I usually cut the stuff out.
Right. Unless we had some back around unsanctioned. But.
And I, there's a lot of what happens if you have this card and this card, rulings and so forth. Because he's the official rules manager.
Yes.
So I usually cut those out. I usually cut out most of the references to bananas and his toaster and other odd things that come up over the years that are inside jokes. And I try to boil it down to what might be the most important stuff of the week. It's one man's idea of that. And then we are going to bandy it about, discuss it, and let you know what happened. So this is for the week that ended, actually. I should start doing that, right?
Yeah.
So today is the 14th.
Yes.
So it would have ended like the 8th or 9th of last week. We're a little late recording this episode. We're breaking all sorts of social
distancing recommendations.
Yes. By doing this, but we're just low tech, and I babysit the granddaughter, and it's just the way that it is.
Right.
So we see each other. We are related, I say.
You've had my daughter for the last 2 days. I don't think seeing you now is going to make it worse.
Right. But we are doing our part. The guild is shut down. We're in here after hours. Well, the last week or so has been after hours. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to bring you what we hope is some informative information. Entertaining information, and we'll call it intermation. No.
Infotainment.
That's infotainment. That's our brand, infotainment. So, kicking things off, all those giant... This is the question. Those giant monster movies where the monster starts as a human? No, because they don't. We're following the flavor of our source material. That's actually an answer that Mark Rosewater gave to somebody. And somebody says, actually, humans becoming monsters is a fairly common theme across the... You could say that word.
Takusatsu.
Sure. Genre. It happens a lot in Kamen Rider, and Super Sentai. And there was an episode dedicated to it in Ultraman Taiga. Just so you know. And so Mark, being Marks, responds, good to know. He got some information maybe he didn't have.
Right.
Innistrad has become the plane of humans that become monsters. So that's where we hit those tropes. So, in other words, Ikoria is about something besides humans becoming monsters.
Right.
It's about monsters being monsters.
Monsters being monsters.
And humans being humans. And humans are usually just the chattel thrown before the monsters as they take over the cities and do what they dang well please. So that's what we're hitting on here. So, not a fan of Godzilla's special cards. The thing is, I don't mind promos like Grimlock and Ponies. They aren't legal. I cannot stop people from playing Godzilla against me and making me feel this is not magic anymore. This is something worse. I do not think these cards are not for you applies. Commander isn't for me, but since I don't need to play it, I don't care if you make Commander cards. What's next? A standard legal Dritz Duerden? A standard legal Optimus Prime? Please, no. So Mark says this raises a good question. How do you all feel about Godzilla card and other creatures from the same IP, which isn't magic, existing in Black Border? So, and this comes up a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
it's a
IP
theme
thing.
That runs.
Yeah, we're going to see that in a few more questions.
It's interesting, and for one, I think this guy's kind of a sad guy, and he needs to get over it. That's kind of my first opinion. Is
well, let's get personal.
If me playing my card with Godzilla is ruining his life, like I'm just saying.
that's a little bit of a negative Nancy for me too. I mean, that's
I believe there is a limit. I believe there are some things that can be cool. I like the Godzilla cards, probably because it's the first time they've done something like this. It's really cool.
Very themeful, very thematic, very right there, Godzilla. Oh no, Godzilla.
Right.
And we are on the same page. We want to see the streams crossed.
Yeah.
We want to see D&D and Magic get mixed. I can't believe it's not the first one they did.
Right. And
honestly, I can't believe it's not the first one. It seems such a no-brainer to do it. But this is on a small scale. It's only a few cards. It's a toe dip, if you will.
Moving along right there with that question, though, we're going to move on to this next one. If I'm being completely honest, not only do I absolutely love the Godzilla promos, I actually would love to see a crossover go just a smidge further in regards to D&D. Hell yes, I want to see a standard Dritz. Not as a promo alt art. Faerun would fit right in as a plane in Magic.
Yep.
Who says it can't be a part of the multiverse? I'd love to see a Magic set actually take place in Faerun or Eberron or Greyhawk. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Mark answers with a question here, essentially, but...
Would others like to see D&D on Magic cards?
Yeah.
We would. How about you guys?
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to see it as a...
I think it's a no-brainer, like I was saying. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I don't want to see it as alt art either, like promo alt art like this. Like, let's go to Faerun.
Let's do it. The whole set's there.
Yeah.
This has to be in the works in that 5-year plan.
It's got to be.
It has to be somewhere in our less than 5 years. They had to. It just has to be.
If they partnered with Toho to get Godzilla cards, they've got to be. Yeah, they've got to be taking us. And I would assume Faerun is where we have to go out of all the D&D planes. I know Eberron's gotten really big in the last 10, 15 years since it was created or whatever, and Greyhawk's the original. But Forgotten Realms, Faerun is the king and father of all.
Yeah, somebody would have to explain it to me, Lucy, if there's a reason why they shouldn't do it, because I don't get it.
Yeah. I want a Dritz Duerden legendary creature. I want Elminster. I want a legendary creature Elminster, 5-color wizard that just wrecks the world.
Give us beholders.
Yes.
We want beholders.
We really do.
Why can't we have beholders? We've got dragons.
Wow, you just made me realize that there is nothing like a beholder in 27 years of Magic. Wow.
We got no beholders.
Wow.
Thalids. We got no beholders. Anyway, moving on. While I like Mutate mechanically, I find the flavor of Mutate to be fascinatingly strange. That seems accurate so far.
That seems accurate, yes.
In Ikoria, it is strange enough when a giant moth turns into a cat nightmare dinosaur, but using creature types outside of Ikoria, you can have things like a fairy, a spirit, a thopter, a wall, or even Sarkin, or Gideon, I guess, before he died, if you're using those old cards, turning into a cat nightmare dinosaur. Was this considered when developing Mutate?
It sure was, and they smiled a whole bunch and laughed. At least that's in my mind.
This is what we in R&D call the elephant in the boots problem. With 20,000 plus cards, we can make the flavor work some of the time.
Yeah.
But there are just going to be cards that want to be open-ended mechanically that result in weird flavor combinations. We just accept that as part of the nature of a trading card game.
Yeah, they're exactly right.
Sure. I mean, sometimes you're going to have some odd mix. We already have those.
Yeah, if you play Commander...
We've had them for years.
If you play Commander, you've seen weird interactions,
Watch next week when we talk about cards with no permanent card type.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
That'll be on next week's episode.
Yeah.
Releasing just a couple days after this one, since we're late. But yeah, watch for that. So that's a thing.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to make Commander really fun. We're going to see some crazy Commander games because of mutating your Commander, and it's going to be... Can you mutate out of the command zone if your Commander has mutate and only have to pay the mutate cost?
I believe so. It's an alternate casting cost, right?
I thought so. I
think so.
Because some of the commander decks, a couple of them have mutate. The commanders do. So.
I believe so. Yeah. Mark, if Godzilla is king of the monsters, why is he not all 5 colors? It would make more sense to use him as a commander and use his little cronies in the deck. Godzilla is pretty green.
He is the best color combination. He is Gruul.
He's pretty green.
If not Gruul, then die.
He's a natural monster. He just wants to eat stuff. And you don't get in his way. So he's just a monster. So pretty green. So when it comes to hybrid mana cost, the effect of the card needs to be functionally printable on a monocolored card of each color, right? Yep. And that is kind of the definition of hybrid.
Depends on the day.
With the new card Obosh, and Obosh is actually what's
Obosh
his full name?
is the Prey Piercer.
The Prey Piercer. He is one of the companion cards.
Yep. The Rakdos one.
I couldn't remember his full name. Double damage is printed on a hybrid Rakdos card. That's red and black. But I've run a search and can't find any black cards that already do this. Is Obosh an exception to this rule, or is double damage a thing that black can do now? And Mero says, we decided it was an acceptable bend in black. Hybrid cards do allow us to do some bends.
Right.
So there are many times that Mark will bring up, you'll read about bends that are made. And they make bends to fit flavor, to fit the set, so that a color that sort of can do something, or might be able to do something, gets to do it better, right, or gets to do something they haven't done before in order to fit the flavor of the set. And it happens all the time. Not even going to start with examples because it's literally in every set.
Yeah.
They do these things. So Obosh gets this exception. They don't consider it a break. They consider it a bend. I don't know. We were talking about this before the cast.
Right. It becomes more important. There's been talk for a long time about hybrid and commander. And Mark Rosewater...
Should it be allowed?
He believes it should because he dies on this hill that it's a monocolored red card and a monocolored black card is what he wants to tell you. But
allowed as intended instead of by the color rules that we have.
Right. That a hybrid card is like I said, this hybrid card would be mono red and mono black. It's not a red and black card. It kind of is how he puts it. It could be either monocolor, but as we see here, not necessarily so much. Yeah, possibly.
I think we're good with the hybrid rules as they are in Commander. And I, for one, hope they don't change. That's just a personal opinion. I think we share that one.
I ever meet Sheldon Menery, I'm going to give him $1 to put in his jar just so I can tell him what I have to say about hybrid mana is don't change it.
All right. Lastly, my girlfriend's significant other likes Magic and plays, but somewhat casually. Mm-hmm. And she thinks this set is too complex, overwhelming thus far. Specifically mentioned everything having tons of rules stacks, and I think mutate triggers aren't intuitive to her. I'm pretty enfranchised, and even I think it seems potentially higher complexity level than an average master set had just in terms of tracking stuff alone.
It is the most complex set I've seen since I've been back in Magic for 3 years.
I think it probably is a new level of complex.
Right.
The set is definitely of a higher complexity than average. We like to swing the pendulum, and we thought we had something very fun and flavorful. Which seems true.
It's super flavorful.
How this set is received will impact how we handle complexity in the future. And I don't mind them pushing the envelope.
Oh, no.
Man, they should have bought a bigger envelope for this one or something. It's pretty well pushed. Reserve judgment till you play.
Right.
That's a thing you should always do.
I think at least for franchise players like us, I think it will come pretty quickly that mutate seems less complex after we actually have the cards in our hands. I think it'll be pretty quick where we'll pick up on it. And that's the most complex thing in the set, really, is the mutate. Mutate, lots of triggers. The keyword counters, just tracking them is the only thing. They are not complex, but making sure people track them properly.
But with the punch-out technology, that's going to be way better. I'll tell you something else that would improve your ability to do so. I'm going to make a pitch. Dry erase tokens.
They're a lifesaver.
Something that you can write if you make a clone of a mutated creature, you get all those abilities on the clone.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I need to create some dry erase token counters too.
Maybe.
So hopefully there's enough punch outs. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun tracking stuff with this set.
Yeah.
And especially once you get outside of the pre-release and drafting and it interacts with all the other sets in Standard, all the things that you'll be able to do, oh, what fun we'll have.
Yeah.
So, Colossification seems like a break. It's a green spell that lets you tap an opponent's creature. So it's like a, 7 mana.
7 mana.
You tap a creature, it's an aura. And he gets plus 20, plus 20.
That's very green, by the way.
It's a bend. Note that it costs 7 mana and comes with the drawback of your opponent's creature getting plus 20 to plus 20. So yeah, if you want to spend 7 mana to tap your opponent's creature, again, it's a bend, not something green normally does. Kind of, we can refer back to Obosh. We trashed on Obosh and the hybrid thing. But here's another bend that's in a monocolor of green.
Right. But most of the time, that's not how you're going to use this thing, right? I mean, that's not its primary use.
No, it's not.
You're going to attack with your creature, then you're going to pay 7 to make it plus 20 since it's already tapped, and win the game next turn.
Or you got some way to untap it,
right.
or maybe you do other fun things.
Yeah, well, there's lots of options, yes. But it's an aura that gives a creature plus 20. Seems very green to me.
Yep, seems very green. So we'll just let it go at that. But anyway, there's an example. I noticed that Mysterious Egg has a collector number of 3. And of course, we've seen the whole set by now. I assume this means we'll be getting more colorless non-artifacts in Ikoria, but does it also signal the possibility of future, hopefully non-Eldrazi ones too? And he says it does mean more colorless cards.
Right.
Me super happy because I got a colorless commander deck, and I still have a few artifacts in there because there's just not enough colorless cards to make an entire commander deck without using
and we got
artifacts.
3 in this set and 1 or 2 more in the commanders, right?
1 in the commander, right? Trilobite?
The Trilobite, is it the only one?
I think Trilobite was the only one. So I think we got 4 brand new ones. I'm getting really close.
We got the egg, the fox, and I don't remember what the other one was out of the base set. But I remember there was a fox as well.
Yeah.
That
it
has a loot-like ability or something like that, I believe,
Yeah.
when you do damage,
So anyway, I'm happy to see some colorless cards.
Yeah, it's
that
good
are not
space.
Eldrazi themed. It's pretty nice. I think maybe it's telegraphing a little bit. We're headed towards getting Waste back when we go back to Zendikar.
I think so. That
Maybe.
It's time for Waste to come back. Get another printing.
Yeah, maybe. All right. This is a big one, guys.
This is a large one.
What was the Council of Colors' view on Glade Muse? If you don't know, in R&D they have a Council of Colors. I think we might have mentioned it before,
Right.
so just briefly. Somebody represents each color and looks after the things that color can do.
Right.
Make sure that, the color pie is being represented appropriately. Is Glade Muse a bend or a break? So let's read Glade Muse real quick, just so we have it right. It is a 3 for a 2/4 creature. It's a beast. And it says, whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, that player draws a card. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, that player draws a card. So let's see what Mero said, and he had quite a lot to say about
Quite a bit to say.
Let's get to today's elephant in the room, Glade Muse. Cards are most often not designed in a vacuum. They're designed to fit the need of a slot or set or deck. We're usually trying to solve a problem with certain parameters, like color, already in place. The green, blue, red commander deck is based on creatures with flash and instant. Each color had slots for monocolored cards for this deck. So the Ikoria commander design team was looking for ways to play into this space in each monocolor. Glade Muse was trying to find some novel space to push green. When a card like this, with an effect we haven't done exactly before, comes to the Council of Colors, the question is what color would most likely do this effect, but is it acceptable that this color can do this effect? Because, once again, we're evaluating what's before us, not what potentially could be.
Right.
Blade Muse was a tricky card. Yes, obviously in a vacuum the effect is more blue. But is it green enough to be an acceptable bend? The set needed a green card for this deck. If the answer was no, the card doesn't change colors. It gets pulled from the set and replaced. It was a universal effect, which we do the most often in green, followed by white. White's universal effects are most often rules. Green is secondary in card draw, tied with black.
Yep.
Green's card drawing is usually tied to creatures, which ties into flash, but is understandably odd with instants. After much discussion, we decided it was a bit of a bend, but acceptable. I'll be honest, calls like these are hard, and sometimes we look back with time and realize we made a bad call. I'm not sure where Glade Muse will end up, but I want to be open that judging color identity of new effects within the context of the need of the products is tricky, and we don't always bat 100% with 20/20 hindsight.
Imagine that.
Man, once again, Mark Rosewater, and I think there's another time in here when he really just goes above and beyond with his explanation to explain things. They're not always cut and dried. It's not black and white. There is a lot of gray, like the rest of our world. Not everything's black and white. No matter how much our politicians want to polarize us, the world is not black and white. It is a differing shades of gray all the way through.
All the way through.
Magic is as well.
Blade Muse.
I'll admit, when I saw this card, I was like, wow, Simic just got way better.
Right, I think...
And it's already good.
I think that's part of the biggest... this card... We've got the last year to 2 years has really piled the green card draw and just the Simic in general on us. And when you see another one as powerful as this hit, even me who likes playing green, there's a little part of me inside that groans a little and goes, more? That's a really good draw.
So, I love green. I'm a green player.
Yeah.
I've been for 27 years. You've got to build your deck to work with this, okay?
Right.
I know it comes in a pre-con, but you've got to build your deck to play this.
It has the major drawback of it doesn't just benefit you as well.
You got to remember that. Drawback. How many of your opponents are playing Instants and Flash? No. How many cards are you going to let your opponents draw when this comes out?
Yeah. It can be a double-edged sword.
It's got a decent body, a 2/4 for 3 mana.
2/4 for 3 is not bad.
That's Giant Spider for 1 less.
Yeah.
It doesn't have reach, but so what?
I get to draw 1,000,000 cards.
So it is an interesting card. And so there's some really interesting green cards in Ikoria.
There are.
Both the Commander and the
regular
standard set. So
it's incredible just to... I don't know. It's going to be a very good card, and we'll see where it lands.
We'll see where it goes, yeah. All right, so Verge Rangers is a worse Courser of Krufix. Cartographer's Hawk is a worse Rampant Growth. Is White's new color identity to be worse than anything Green does? Man, some people just need to get it.
They have given us some stuff in White recently, guys. We still need more. We need to push for more in White. I'm not arguing, but they've been doing something.
White is primary in some effects and secondary in others. Yes, it does its secondary effects worse than the primary color. That's why it's secondary. So let's just take a quick look at them. So the first one he said was Verge Rangers. It's a white and 2. It's a 3/3 first strike. That, my friends, is a solid creature.
Yeah.
3 mana, 3/3 first strike. Totally solid.
Now, if I remember, Courser Krufix it's a 2/4.
It's a 2/4. It's an enchantment creature.
It's an enchantment creature. But...
Yeah. So you may look at the top card of your library at any time. And then, as long as an opponent controls more lands than you, you may play land cards from the top of your library. So it's a land tax creature kind of thing. Which White has gotten this type of things before. Look at land tax, look at Tithe, look at Knight of the White Orchid.
Yeah.
White is actually probably second in land fetch in all the colors.
Right. It is, and saying it's just...
Yes, it's a worse Courser of Krufix, but... It's secondary.
It is, but it does have its own upsides. I want to point that out in the differences it has with Courser Krufix. The body is a more aggressive body. It's a 3/3 first striker instead of a 2/4.
As should be, because it's in white, the aggressive color.
You can look at the top card of your library at any time. You are not playing with the top card of your library revealed for everyone.
That also is true.
That is a large positive.
Courser lets everybody see what you got coming.
Now, you can't just automatically play lands off the top of your library. Your opponent has to have more, so that is a drawback. But the body is better, in my opinion, and not showing the top card, and especially in a game like Commander, can be very important. So,
yes.
Is it still probably a worse Courser Crew fix? Yeah, I'd probably say so, but I think it's closer than people are initially. Those small differences are large.
I'll play it in my white decks. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm not sure on this one. Cartographer's Hawk is a white and 1. It's a 2/1 flyer. It's a bird.
It's a bird.
When it deals combat damage to a player who controls more lands than you, return it to its owner's hand. If you do, you may search your library for a Plains card, just a Plains, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library.
So to note in that, it is a Plains card, but it does not say a basic Plains card.
No, and Verge Ranger lets you get any land, lets you play any land off the top. But this lets you go to, so you can get a dual land. You can get one of the new tricycle lands.
Yeah, one of the new tricycle lands.
You actually get one of those.
Those things are so cool.
Yeah. So, I think it's fine.
I think it's pretty decent.
I mean, it's really a decent body. It's in Commander. It's an early threat, and somebody gets ahead on land. Somebody ramps ahead of you. It lets you catch right back up. And I think that's fine. I don't think white has to be the best at ramp.
No.
Green is the best at ramp.
Green is the best at ramp.
Hands down, and it should stay that way.
Right, but they are giving white more ways to ramp. That's a pretty good one.
Ways to catch up. Ways to stay in the game.
A 2/1 flyer for 2 isn't a bad rate to begin with before that ability. I mean, not that a 2/1 flyer for 2 is something that you pack your Commander deck full of, but, And
it does put it on the battlefield, not just in your hand, so I think it's fine. So...
I would agree. I like where the moves are making with white.
All right. Mark, Ikoria is shaping up to be one of my favorite sets ever, if not the favorite.
It's pretty awesome.
However, it seems that it is getting many negative opinions too. It is my impression, or is the set attracting a higher love-hate reaction than usual? And Mero says, it's a more experimental set than average, which means there'll be more 1s, 2s, 9s, and 10s on a 10-point scale in the reaction. Now, what I wanted to mention in reference to this is that he's said many times in the past, in articles on Blogatog, that he would rather make a set that has strong reactions, both positive and negative, than just make a set that's in the middle there but goes, it's fine.
Right.
So if you get a strong reaction, it means you're pushing in good directions, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're getting, if they're all strong negative, then you probably messed up.
Made a mistake.
But you get people who have feelings about it and let you know, now you're getting information. You're getting intelligence. Okay, people liked this part. They didn't like that part. We'll try to do more of this part. This is the part people wanted. We'll do less of this part, So I think it's a good thing to push in those directions. I'm always a fan of them pushing the envelope on stuff and finding out what works, what doesn't, and then pulling back if need be.
They've done a heck of a job on this set, in my opinion. We talk about pushing. I mean, they pushed power, you want to say, with Eldraine, but it didn't feel as fun. It was a push set, but it didn't feel as fun, if that makes sense.
I don't know, going on adventures, so thematic.
Going on adventures was very thematic.
I really enjoy the adventure part. So, all right, is there any reason why -1/-1 counters seem fairly rare? Unless I'm forgetting something, then outside of weird old cards, they've only shown up in Shadowmoor block, Scars block, and Amonkhet block. And so I knew this before I read it.
Yeah.
-1/-1 counters have less design space and more play design issues than +1/+1 counters, so we use them less frequently. And the main reason for that is they kill stuff. You can put +1/+1 counters on something all day. It doesn't mean it's going to do damage. It's going to help end the game. It's going to further the end of the game. But -1/-1 counters can actually slow a game into a crawl if you're just killing everything on the field all the time.
Yeah.
So it has less space.
It has less space. It is kind of the definition of parasitic. You're Literally, you're leeching everything away with those -1 counters. But
not in the design sense.
I know, but
don't confuse our viewers here.
I do miss -1 counters because I loved them in Almond Kept Block. It was fun.
I do too, but I think you said in the past that we'll see them once or twice a decade.
Right.
That's how much
I just want my
serves.
-1 counter Jund Commander. That's what I want. They gave me Hapatra and Scorpion King in Almond Kept Block.
And they're not good enough.
You can't play them together in the same deck. Well, you can, but you just can't have a commander that affects -1 counters. I want both those in the same deck.
They're both commanders.
But it's one or the other.
Yes? So you have two -1 commanders.
But they're different color.
So?
I want a 3-color. All the -1 stuff is in 3 colors. Let me use all 3
Greedy Magic players.
I know.
Never satisfied.
Never satisfied. I just want to utilize all my cards. I'm sorry.
Build another deck. That's what the rest of us do. Hello, Mark. You have said that while Magic has some sci-fi elements from time to time, Kaladesh, the Phyrexians, that it is important to keep the game firmly within fantasy. While I know they aren't in the actual world of Ikoria, was there a concern about depicting characters like Mechagodzilla on the alternate arts for cards? Even as promos, they are now part of the aesthetic of the game. Same with the images of modern buildings and cars on some of the art, and helicopters and planes. Yeah.
Fighter jets.
We're not concerned with other IPs. We've had Dungeons & Dragons, Transformers Nerf, My Little Pony, and Godzilla showing things outside of Magic's IP. They're other IPs.
Fair.
Now, to be fair here, all these other things happened in unsets.
Yes.
Until we got Godzilla. The D&D, the Transformers, the Nerf, My Little Pony, all silver-bordered stuff.
And actually, well, Dungeons & Dragons is the only one that actually got made in an unset. The rest were special promo.
Special promos, yeah.
Con from...
I mean, yeah, we got Bag of Holding.
Well, that's true.
Outside of that, so... All right. Since you talked about Glade Muse, and we did talk about that, could you talk about Devouring Bite as well? Devouring Bite was an early translation of a card actually called Charge of the Forever Beast.
Yes.
Does green really need its mechanical space expanded? Another green hater out there, I tell you. So let's look at that card real quick.
It's a really cool card.
So it's a green and 2, just like Glade Muse.
Yeah.
But it's not a dude. It is a sorcery. And it says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, reveal a creature card from your hand.
Cool.
Charge of the Forever Beast deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the revealed card's power. Now, this card is in Ikoria, not in Commander 20. Yeah. So, Mayro says, green has had Bite for a while, dealing damage equal to a creature's power. Devouring Bite is doing something new by caring about a creature card in your hand, but it still requires running the creature in your deck. And we make new sets constantly, which mean all the colors are having their mechanical space expanded. Mm-hmm. It's what an evolving game does. Yeah, this isn't even a band.
No, it's just a good card.
It's just new space that hasn't been used before.
You're just fighting with a creature out of your... It's not even it's a one-way fight, but you're essentially using a creature out of your hand instead of one on the battlefield.
We get one-way fight once in a while. I like to see it a little bit more, but we get it once in a while, so... Again, not the first time we've got one-way fight.
No.
Just out of the hand.
Just to be honest, that'll probably make the 3rd or 4th one-way fight card that'll be in Standard right now. We've got at least 2 out of the Ravnica sets that I can think of.
Yeah.
And so...
We have been getting more of those lately. I like the one-way fight.
Oh, it's removal. It's actual removal.
Yep. A follow-up to that was previous green Bite at least required keeping the creature alive during the resolution, opening you up to a 2-for-1. Just having to have a creature in hand basically makes it straight up burn.
No.
Is running creatures in your deck really a high enough bar for green to get that effect? That's what we're testing. Alan, can you explain to me how it's not burn since you're a red player?
In my opinion, for it to be true burn, there's a lot of red cards anymore that aren't true burn. You have to have options, like the face. You've got to be able to... Any target is an important thing for me to call it burn. Lightning Bolt is the quintessential card. Deal 3 damage to any target. That's my personal opinion. That's what makes it burn.
So, can I ask you something then?
Yes.
Because I do love green. There happens to be a new little card in Ikoria, not Commander, called Ram Through. It's a green and 1. It's an instant, and it happens to say, within its text box, relevantly,
Okay.
target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control.
Fight. Okay.
If the creature you control has trample, has to have trample, excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Is that burn?
That's like... It's very conditional burn, I guess. You could say. You can't send damage straight to the...
Excess damage.
Excess damage. You can only target a creature. No, it's still not burn, because you can't target... I mean, it is great direct damage, but it's not burn.
It's not burn. Okay.
It's not burn, in my personal opinion.
It's good to know it's not burn. We'll keep that in mind till later. Don't forget that. All right. Hi, Mark. I, for one, like the Godzilla cards and can't wait to make a Godzilla Mother Rodan deck. But I am curious, was it a conscious decision to include modern elements in the artwork, like planes, as opposed to the Ikoria setting or perhaps a more generic fantasy-type setting? So we're still talking about the whole Godzilla thing.
We're on the IP.
The Godzilla series cards are set in the Godzilla world, not Ikoria. It's someone else's IP, so that's where it's set. So just again, he's answering a lot of questions about it. I just wanted to make sure everybody out there knows they're a special thing. There's only
18 if you can get your hands on
18 if you're in Japan, 15 here.
Right.
16.
You have to buy a box.
You got to buy a box. Isn't the Ikoria article wrong about how mutate works with kill spells? Wouldn't the entire stack of creature cards be put into your graveyard, not just the top one? Now here's the other example I mentioned a while ago, where Mark takes a lot of time to discuss something and explain things, and this is one of the reasons why we love him, all right?
Right.
So, initial article, if you don't read Making Magic every week, you probably should, okay?
But the guy who's asking the question is correct.
He did make a mistake.
Make a mistake.
Let's see what he says. My initial article, which has since been corrected, was wrong. There is a 2-year gap between me handing off a set in Vision Design and it being printed.
Yep.
During that time, I am actively involved in 8 to 10 other designs. Often things I do, and this definitely counts for mutate, as today's article shows, change during set design. And if you've watched, it did change. Usually around a set's release, I'm talking a lot with everyone in the pit to refresh myself on how a mechanic works. Because of our current situation, that's COVID-19. If you're watching this years from now,
especially Wizards of the Coast is located in Seattle, and they are definitely all in isolation.
They're all working from home. I didn't get that, and I was forced to rely on my memory, which in this case was a little faulty. I'm sorry. Here's a sincere apology. Learn from this, people. Get off that internet where you're holding everyone to a higher standard than yourself. I should have double-checked, and I didn't. And that's on me. Mutate is already a complex mechanic, so me having misremembered it and thus confusing players is a big mistake. I'm going to work to be better about this in the future. This is how you do an apology.
Yeah.
This is how you do an explanation. This is a class act. Okay? Yeah. So, 2 years since he did it. He didn't get a chance to talk with his coworkers because they're working from home and trying to design Magic without having that interactivity like we have, right here. So, very different. But yeah, if you'll go out and look, you can see there's some videos on it. Let's see, Gavin Verhey's been doing Magic Morning, or what's he calling it?
Have you been watching any of his videos?
I've watched the last 2 mornings, yeah. So he's doing Magic in the morning. I forget, what's it called?
I think that's what
Morning Magic in the morning.
Yeah.
But he talks a little bit about it on there with, I don't remember who he talks about it with. But anyway, he talks about it on there. There's been an article written about it, how the mechanic changed over time.
Yeah.
And changed for the better, I think.
I
can understand where it started, but if you watch how it changed from being, mutate originally, you could only mutate onto another creature that had the same creature type. They had to share an ability. So if you were mutating something that had vigilance, you had to mutate it on a creature that already had vigilance.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things first, but this is how a mechanic gets made.
That's how something
you
evolves.
make it, you play it, you see how it works.
Right.
It was hard to do that, and this is where we ended up with the five main creature types in each color. So you got cats in white, you got dinosaurs in red, elementals in blue, nightmares in black, and beasts in green.
Yeah.
Because originally those were the main creature types that could do the mutate.
Right.
And that's how they lived through. We don't have like dragons and angels and demons like you normally. We got monsters, you know.
Right.
It's a monster set. So anyway, go check that out. We're not going to go more in depth here, but we got enough to get you going. Look it up, right? Is there a concern about mutate being fairly parasitic? I've seen this one a bunch of times. Hopefully next week I cut them all out because we're going to answer it today. You can mutate any non-human creature in the history of the game. That's pretty backward compatible.
Yeah, it doesn't seem...
parasitic means that your mechanic requires that mechanic in order to do anything. Well, this does it. You can take a mutate card and you put it on any non-human in the game, which is thousands.
It's a few years back now, but still the best example recent I can think of for parasitic is energy. Energy was very parasitic. You had a whole bunch of ways to make energy, but then you had to have more energy cards to use the energy.
If you didn't have a card that referred to energy on it, energy meant nothing.
Right.
Energy did nothing for you unless you had a card that's parasitic.
Right. That is parasitic. And mutate, humans are the biggest tribe in the history of the game, but still the majority of creatures in Magic are not humans.
You should read, is it 2 weeks ago, Making Magic, where Mark talks about how humans didn't originally really start in the game, and they purposefully kept them out of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't read that, but I've seen somebody else talk about it.
Pretty interesting. You should be reading Making Magic every week.
Yeah.
Mark, I recently answered a poll on your Twitter that I did not like the Godzilla crossover. I want to let you know that I love the idea of Magic crossing over with pop culture. I'm just not a fan when the crossover is about nuclear disaster monsters, space invasions, and other modern elements. I look forward to the day when Magic crosses over with other fantasy-related IPs. And this is one of those where he just says, just curious, how do others feel about Godzilla and friends? Are they fantasy enough? And so, again, just... lots of people have lots of strong feelings about Godzilla, about the set, and this is usually a good thing. They can take this information and learn from it.
I don't want to see a lot more like Godzilla with the crossover because of the modern elements and everything. I will agree with that. I do think Godzilla is just really cool to do it the first time.
The way they've done it is fine.
It's really cool.
I'm glad they're not on Ikoria with planes around them. That would be bad.
Be a problem. But it's really cool. But I would like to see more fantasy, like we talked about the D&D and such. More fantasy stuff that fits more to cross over with. Because there is plenty out there to cross over that still fits inside the realm of what Magic is.
If you started listening to our Chatter of the Squirrels, or you haven't, you should check us out, Chatter of the Squirrels. We do it every week from the store here. I've been posting them up on YouTube lately.
Yep.
But my logo, I'm all about squirrels. I love squirrels. And so every week I try to put something about squirrels in to just about everything here. And luckily, lately, there's been several questions and stuff about squirrels.
Well, that's good.
Because we got a black-bordered squirrel with Ikoria, right?
We did, yes.
So anyway, the next question's about squirrels. One of my disappointments is that the black-green companion isn't the squirrel.
I know.
And he says...
Is this your question?
No. He says the squirrel is just a card. It's not a super splashy design, but rather a simple, straightforward, functional one. And it is.
Yeah.
The good news is it's in black border, which means it can pave the way for more black-bordered squirrels, some of which will get to be splashier.
Oh.
And this one isn't splashy at all. In fact, did we pull it up?
I don't even remember what it's called. It's white is all I know, which makes no sense.
It's a velociraptor squirrel or something, right? Not velociraptor. What is it called? It's a glider.
Yeah, it's a glider. It's got glider. Flying or conditional flying.
Yeah. See how prepared we are. You get to be unprepared with us as we
Helica.
go. Helica glider, a white and 2/2/2. Enters the battlefield with your choice of a flying counter or a first strike counter on it. And it's a Nightmare Squirrel in white, which is just odd, and we're going to get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So hold your horses. I'm going to do better in the future at bunching these up. Well, we'll just jump to it. It's only 2 away.
Yeah.
While I'm very happy to have a new squirrel in a standard set, and I'm sure it was a developmental thing with its mechanics, it feels very weird that a Nightmare Squirrel is neither black or green. It's white. We just talked about it. He says, I'm not sure how it happened. I was just happy to get a squirrel in black border. And as am I.
We got one more here talking about this glider as well.
Yeah, does this mean they're now Abzan?
Yeah. Or are they still just...
green-black? They are primary green, secondary in black, and I'd wait to see how many more white ones get made. This is going to be a weird anomaly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got a green and white squirrel deck, but
well, yeah, you do have a place to play it.
it's a Tristani deck that only wants to make squirrels. But still, I can throw that in there easily. Sure.
Easily.
Yeah. So
yeah, I love that
flying
it's
squirrel. I've been wanting a flying squirrel a long time.
Right. I love that it sounds like Mayro is kind of like surprised that it's white as well. He's like, oh, it is.
Yeah. I don't know how it came to be, but there it is, and it's in black bordered. We made it, boys.
Right.
All right. Hello, I try to keep an open mind with the nuances that came with Ikoria, but I strongly dislike effects that pass ability counters on other creatures because they trend into the territory of auras.
Yeah.
Was this a concern when you were making the set? He says, our keyword counter design specifically made cards that couldn't just be auras. Well, at least not without looking and reading really strangely. So, all the keywords, you generally don't get a card even for like one, you don't, I mean, yeah, there's the old flight spell from Alpha, 1 blue to give a creature flying.
Right.
But since that day, every spell that gives a creature flying costs more or does more for 1 blue mana. As an example, you don't get just a card that says 1 green, give a creature trample. Okay, it costs less than a mana. So what they're doing with these counters is they're able to build them in and give you a little extra oomph, and to make a spell maybe have a little extra to it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I like the designs of the ones that I've seen. I think I've seen them all. You know, I like the designs of them. It's giving you that little push, like, oh, this would normally be an aura that did this, or an instant.
Yeah.
You know, that, +3/+3 trample till end of turn. But now I've got a creature, maybe it's a 1/1 that became a 4/4 trample. Now it's a 1/1 with trample, but it just means that if I boost it again, it's still going to have trample.
It's already got the trample, yeah.
So I like the design space. I think from other stuff I'm reading that Mayro thinks these are coming back. Now, not necessarily on a evergreen or deciduous basis, but he really liked the way these turned out. I think we'll see some more of them 2 to 4 years down the road.
Like I said, I think the only problem when we've all just got to make sure we use our little punch-out cards, or we have a good system.
Maintaining a way to represent a correct board state is so important. That's why these dry erase things are really handy, all right? For your tokens. I mean, I'm tired of trying to remember the white dice is an angel and the red dice is a goblin, but the green dice is a merfolk?
Right.
Wait a second.
Yep.
No, I don't want to have to do that. So definitely representing your board state, super important.
Those things are fantastic as well, because if you're like me, building commander decks, you got a lot of weird eclectic cards, and the one thing you never end up doing is piecing together all the random tokens that you end up figuring out, oh, my deck can make a what?
Yeah.
There's something that makes a what in here?
I've started trying to do that when I build new decks. Go through and find the tokens. I'm trying to get all the backlog of the old decks. But sometimes, and some of the old cards don't actually have tokens for it. So, alright, so what's up with the companion cards in Ikoria? Did I say companion or companion? Companion cards. That's what I meant to say.
Cabana? Cabana? What?
Copa Companion. Okay. Cards that care about or restrict your deck construction are new. And the rewards for these are free access to a card outside of your deck.
Yep.
Magic rules are meant to be messed with, but the reward being more consistency seems off. Don't you say the easiest way to make Magic not fun is to remove randomness? These seem like plants for a commander, so why weren't they just commander cards instead of limited and standard?
I don't understand this guy's question because it doesn't make sense to me.
It's not great, no. Actually, before this, I don't know how many places we'd find it. Battle of Wits is about the only one I can think of off the top of my head where you've got to play over 200 cards to be able to win.
Right.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's some that have to deal with your life and so forth, but that's not how you build your deck necessarily.
No.
So anyway, Mayro says, Magic often makes what we in R&D calls build-around cards.
Yeah.
That is, cards which force you to build a deck around them. Build-around cards are some of the funnest cards in the game. That's all companion cards are. And while you can play them in Commander, they weren't designed specifically for Commander. In fact, we had Standard more in mind when we created the mechanic than Commander.
I think that's obvious if you look at the actual cards as well.
They actually, some of the stuff I've been reading talk about how they actually saw most of them drafted and played. Now, they don't all draft out super well. Some of them better than others.
Right.
I look forward to trying to pack one, pick one, get one of these cards, and draft around it and see what I can build. I think that could be exciting.
That could be fun, yeah. I mean, build-arounds and draft are some of the funnest drafts. If you nail one of those big build-around cards, it'd be like, oh, well, let's see what we can do, you know?
It always stinks when you get it pack 3, though.
It does. It does.
It's like, oh, if I got this pack 1, I'd have totally built this thing.
Right. But yeah, I think it's pretty obvious they were made for Standard just by the abilities that they have.
It's 10 cards. Okay, there's 10 cards you don't like. Just play them regular. You don't have to build around.
You don't have to.
Just play them regular.
I don't think any of them are so strong that they, you know... That's why they obviously look like more like Standard cards. If I think if they were made for Commander, they'd be more powerful. They'd be a little splashier.
Yeah.
And
They can all be used as your Commander, other than Lucia,
who's banned.
Who's banned in Commander and Brawl. But
which,
still,
RC, if you ever listen to our show one day, can we bring back the separate banning things, banned as Commander and stuff like that? I know it's more complicated, but I don't think it's that. Don't you want to play Eurofellas in your 99?
I would like to play Rofellas, but I think the decision to have one list makes sense, personally.
I guess. Because Lutri banned as your commander, or banned
you want to
as your
chatter
commander.
and I'm right, you're wrong?
We might.
We haven't done one in a while.
We haven't.
Because I am right, and you are wrong.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think one list, just simplify it. It's just like the hybrid thing. Keep it simple.
We're already playing Commander. We don't have to simplify it that much. We're already playing a complex format.
All right. To crack open an old chestnut. Not a question, more of a comment, really. Wedge ultimatums. OMG, 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 OMG. This set is awesome. High fives all around. And this is just to let you know, we did refer last week or the week before, one of the Reblogotogs, I didn't go look it up.
Right.
That Mero said they were completing an old cycle that players have wanted for
a decade.
Years.
Yeah,
it's a decade, I think. It's since Shards. It's over a decade. Yeah. So,
we have the other ultimatums.
We have the other 5 ultimatums. So, we got there. That's awesome.
Most of them are pretty cool.
They all look pretty sweet. And how appropriate in the year that we completed a set of a cycle that they started a new cycle that may take 10 years to complete.
Yay.
The Tricycle Lands.
The Tricycle Lands.
He's already said it'd probably be a decade before those are completed.
Yeah.
The next time they do a Wedge World,
they're going
to complete them. The next time.
Which, just to point out, if nobody noticed, those Tricycle Lands aren't getting reprints anywhere either, guys. Those names are tied to Ikoria. I mean, not that Shocklands got reprints outside of Ravnica, even though they got names to where they could.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things. Alright, I know Companion is getting a lot of flack online, but I, for one, am excited about the possibilities.
It just looks cool.
The only bummer is when an existing deck can slot in a Companion with literally no changes to the deck. Did you take that into account when designing Companion abilities, or did you just try to design interesting restrictions regardless of existing archetypes? First off, let's take into account the fact that they made these 2 years ago.
Right.
In which case, none of the deck archetypes that were existing then necessarily exist now after 2 rotations.
Right.
We designed interesting restrictions. There's no way for us to definitively know what specific deck list exists a year plus in the future.
Yeah.
And I was on that Magic Morning thing, they were talking about some of the things that didn't make it, And so they had a lot of different ideas that were cool, and they tried to narrow it down. I, for one, like the one that you can't have anything that costs more than 2 in your deck, but it costs 3.
Right.
I thought that was pretty sweet.
I kind of like that. What is it? Is it the Simic one that's like, or the one that's all big stuff? Everything has to cost like 4 or more.
3 or more.
3 or more. I was like, that's just a big fun deck, huh?
Yeah.
Those first couple turns I ain't doing crap, but
I probably have multiple deck. Well, it's Simic. I get it in there. It's not that problem.
Right.
Not that big a deal. All right. Why is red doing green things in Ikoria? Killing creatures with flying and 2 fight spells, no burn. What's going on? Red is secondary in flying hate, and fighting. These are things red does. Yes, usually not as much as green.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a red fight, actually. But red...
I think if we look back, red might have got the first fight spell.
I was actually going to say, I think
I think it was a one-way fight to start with.
From way, way back.
Way back. I think if we dug it out.
Our first fight ability is actually Arena.
Oh, yeah. Arena. Oh, no. So, no, I would be wrong. Because Tracker gave you the fight ability. So it was in green. In the dark.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Besides Arena, the book promo.
Yeah.
Tracker had it. But I was thinking of a spell. There's a spell like...
There's a red spell.
Follow the Hammer?
Something like...
something before that? That has red fight, do a one-way fight.
Yeah.
So anyway...
Like Mirage Block or something? I'm sorry.
Yeah. That might not even be it. So, Uh-oh, did I get rid of the card that we were wanting to...
the last card that we have to bring up here in a minute on our last question.
Do you remember what the name of it was?
Oh. Of course I don't.
Yeah, we're so...
Flame.
Yeah.
Spill.
Okay, so... Here's my Ikoria social media preview. So, I don't have a picture to show you. You've seen it by now.
Right.
And it's super duper death ray. Well, not exactly. It's called Flame Spell. So, if you're an unfan, or if you know this, there was a card called Super Duper Death Ray.
And Unstable.
And Unstable. And it cost the same, a red and 2. And it basically did the same. It was an instant.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, Flame Spill says, Flame Spill deals 4 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Now, Super Duper Death Ray just says it has trample.
Right.
And everybody intuitively knows. But apparently because of the way the rules are...
You can't technically give a spell trample as a keyword.
You can't give the spell trample. So, but we got Super Duper Death Ray...
Which is awesome.
From an unset in a black bordered standard set. This is a commander. This is standard.
Right. I mean, it costs 3, but,
Alan, is Flame Spill a burn spell?
No.
No? You're just saying that because you feel the entrapment coming.
I do. I can't target you with it. I can't kill you with it I can't consistently kill you with that spell. You have to have a creature for me to kill you with that spell.
Yes.
Burn means I can burn you out. I can kill you with that.
All right. He did good. He did good. The nut doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say. So, all right. I held out on that one. I thought I would get you with that, but that's right. As long as they got a 1 toughness creature, you can still kind of get a bolt out of it. You can get a lightning strike out of it, I guess.
I'm still paying 1 more.
Yeah, but you're killing the creature and you're doing damage to them. It's not as good as what, Searing Blood or Searing Blade or whatever.
Yeah, Searing Blaze.
Blaze?
Yeah.
No, the one where it does. If you played a land, you do 3 to the creature and 3 to the player.
Oh yeah, I do.
There's a couple of red spells out there that have conditionals of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's sort of playing in that space. Anyway, guys, that's what we have for Reblogatog this for last week.
Yeah.
For last week, so tune in again in just a few days, and we'll have this week's in a more timely fashion.
Yeah.
We let the homebody stuff get us, and we've been cleaning our garages.
Yeah.
So we didn't quite get things done, even though I guess we have more time.
We do have more time, but I've been finding more things to fill my time.
Yeah, so
I've rearranged almost my entire house at this point, so I'm kind of ready to go back to work at some point.
You know, when you're given the gift of time, and for all you essential workers out there, I know you haven't been given that gift of time. You're still working and doing your thing. But if you have been given the gift of time, that is an immense gift.
It really is.
Don't squander it. Don't waste it. Don't sit on your butt binge watching somebody else lead a make-believe life that's better than yours. Get out and live it. Get out and do something. Finish some of that honey-do list. Learn to play an instrument. Read a book. Go for a hike. Fix the washing machine. It's been broke for 2 years. Whatever.
Take an online class. Ben's taking online classes. He was up there the other day. I ran into him, and he was taking classes because he's like, I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Take
an online class.
There's all sorts of stuff that you could be doing. I mean, you're going to sit and watch your TV, at least watch a YouTube video that teaches you how to make something. There's plenty you can learn a skill.
It won't last forever. Eat a meal with your family. Eat several meals with your family. Yeah. Talk to your kids. Enjoy time with your kids. Teach them something.
Yeah.
We've
been working on a lot of stuff like that at home.
And I don't just mean for school. I mean teach them something.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them something about their family. Teach them something fun. Play a board game. Do something that's away from the screen. All those things. The gift of time is wonderful if you've gotten it. Don't squander it, because there won't be any makeup days for this one. Let's hope. Let's hope we don't have makeup days for this one.
Let's hope.
So, once again, appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Be sure and watch Reblogatog 6. Check out Chatter of the Squirrels.
Yep.
Let's see. There was word that we were doing some kind of board game video as well. I'm not sure what happened on that.
It'll be up in just a day or so as well. Tonight when I leave here, we're going to finish the last reshoot. Reshoots are fun, guys.
He's finding that doing a game video is a little bit more difficult than us just talking to you.
It is.
But watch for that, and we may be doing some other stuff, so just stay tuned and watch for it, all right? We appreciate all you guys. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
You guys do know Rocky Horror, right? Jeez, come on. Susan Sarandon and
Barry Bostwick.
Who went on to one of them became famous.